So thank you so much for joining us here. It's great to have you in Barcelona. Have you been having interesting conversations with your colleagues back in the same space again?
Yeah. Thank you, Sajid. Thank you very much, actually, for inviting me and allowing me to express my thoughts.
I think you've been talking quite a lot around the sort of fintech and digital banking area, and particularly how that's come to the fore, I guess, during this very difficult pandemic period. What would you say about that progression, and what would you say that COVID exposed in terms of banking gaps, if you like?
Yeah, I think first of all, people have a trust issue on the banking, so that's what actually pandemic have highlighted. And if I would say, I would not be wrong to say that fintech is actually the portmanteau of digital technologies. And I think the innovation we have seen in last decade is just a small percentage what we have, what lies ahead in future. And I think that the banks who have not been evolved and not have been paced with the evolution of technologies have already lost the game, actually, and soon they will be out of competition. And I think fintech and digital banking is the present, is not the future, is the present. We are already living in some time that we are already doing our banking through the phone, through the online banking, and but just getting the credit cards or even personal loans just by tapping the few options on the screen. So this is the digital banking in present. So I think future is a more advanced version of this thing. And secondly, I think open banking would further revolutionize the digital banking. I think open banking, I would give a small analogy with respect to Google Map. I think when Google Map was evolving, nobody thought that Uber and Cream would be benefited out of Google Map. So I think same thing would happen with the open banking, and there are a lot of things we'll see in the future, next 4 to 5 years.
It's kind of an ecosystem, and with that accelerated growth in that area, what would you say you're seeing in terms of the regulators stepping up, what they're doing to kind of meet that?
I think there is no innovation comes without the risks. And I think the same case is with the fintech and this digital banking, because the AML, compliance and risk management are the most concerned areas with respect to these. So I think regulators need to be proactive rather reactive, because they need to work with the fintech companies to understand what is evolving with the fast pace. And accordingly, they need to evolve with their regulatory framework with the same speed, actually. So yeah, I think there are no clear regulatory guideline in terms of fintech companies. That depends country to country, and there are different countries having different regulations. But I think over the time we'll see more regulation coming towards that.
How does crypto fit into this? Because obviously that's come to the fore probably more in the last 2 years, with people becoming more aware and more involved and engaged, and that's sort of sitting alongside the fintech piece.
I think crypto is a lot of buzz. I think the main problem with cryptocurrencies is basically the value. And that's why we have seen the invention of stable coins, actually. And that's why that central banks are also looking for digital currencies. So I think cryptocurrencies, there is a strong argument that we need to regulate cryptocurrencies with respect to anti-money laundering because of the compliance concerns. I think what central banks are doing, actually, they are just digitizing the fiat currencies. And in the future, I think they both will coexist. Cryptocurrencies and central bank digital currencies will coexist in some shape or form. But that definitely we'll see. This is too early to say that what would happen with cryptocurrencies when central bank digital currencies would come. But I think there are a lot of things which needs to be evolved with respect to monetary policies, monetary systems, and yeah, I mean, they will some shape and form they will coexist, I believe.
So that's one great change on the horizon potentially. Are there any others you're expecting to see in 2022 that'll be a challenge for us all?
I think that this use of data is the most critical thing which will evolve around the banking as well, around the fintech. The more agile you are using the data, the more innovative you would be. So I think that's the challenge, I think.
That's the message you want to get out there this week. Well, thank you so much for sharing those thoughts. It's good to talk to you.
Thank you.